We'll talk about civilizations here as we will go. Team islands here. Boom. It's all yellowed out. So, let's take a look. We got Chinese, Indians, and Berbers remaining for secret. Let me add the score, by the way. We got Vikings, Aztecs, and Malians. I think Vikings is a no-brainer here. So Vikings goes for Team Islands here, most likely, for Aftermath. Possibly combined with what? Magyars can be an intriguing option. You can go archers and you can go men-at-arms, you can go scouts, you can go basically any type of land unit if you're landing with Magyars. Or the other option can be to try a men-at-arms land with Celts, even though I don't consider that great. I feel like the best thing they could do is Vikings with a fast castle and Magyars with a scout landing. Magyar scout landing is actually quite dangerous. You get the extra attack on the scouts, which will definitely help you out quite a bit. So I would say that's the best scenario for them. I think Celts is an okay choice, but I feel like it would be better for maybe Glade. And Turks is just a bad save overall. They'll probably try to avoid that as much as they can. Chinese, on the other side, is a possibility. Now, this is a tricky thingy, because I feel like Berbers could be very good on Team Islands, but I feel like they want to do that on Dry Lake. Do the sneaky villager what Viper did yesterday in the semifinals. That's what I'm thinking. So that would leave Chinese or Indians to Team Islands. Neither of them are good water civs. And the other civ would most likely be Portuguese, as we have a game on. So let me switch to the capture age scene. So, welcome everybody. This is gonna be the 5th game in this best of 7 series in the 2-Pools tournament grand final. Left side of the map is gonna be Aftermath Gaming with Magyars for MBL in yellow and Vikings for his teammate Nikov in green. My predictions were actually correct on this one. Other side is Portuguese for TaToH as red, and Viper is gonna take the Berbers in blue. And indeed, that's a fair point to point out 2 things. First, MBL and Nikov are playing now, so let me update the scoreboard with that. And the other is, MBL is yellow. Every game that Viper has won this tournament, and, well, not this tournament, but this series, was with yellow color. The games in which MBL was yellow, it was won by Aftermath. So MBL and Nikov are the players right now in Aftermath, possibly their strongest composition. Now, it's a tiny bit surprising that Viper brings Berbers here, because like I said, I felt that they might be saving that for Dry Lake. But Berbers is actually a very underrated civilization, very good naval civ overall, but I wonder what the plan is for TaToH and Viper, because other side is kind of clear. You want a fast castle with Vikings in the longboats, and you want a Magyars landing most likely into scouts. So the best way to counter a landing is to try and land yourself, but what do you land with? I feel like Portuguese is better in terms of water combat, so I would expect TaToH to open up with fire galleys, go straight up feudal, try to snipe down the fishing eco of MBL and Nikov, and the Viper possibly do a scouts landing. That's what I'm thinking, but he could go archers landing as well, so his versatility is there. But I feel like Magyar scouts do have the upper hand if you're just looking at the sheer combat value that they can bring you. However, you are facing off against Viper, who is amazing with his quick walls, but his base is kind of trash. Front gold, front stone, his other gold is kind of exposed as well. So if Viper gets cornered inside his own base, surrounded by his own walls, then that is going to be a big trouble. The fact that he's not luring in the boar with his own scout kind of indicates that he might want to use that scout later on, possibly for a landing. Meanwhile, on the other side, TaToH didn't lure the boar in with his own scout either. Let's see, Nikov, does he do that? Nope, Nikov is not luring in the boar with the scout either, and neither does MBL. Sometimes people lure in the boar with the scout if they don't want to use the scout for landing, because that saves some villager time, as we see Nikov going for the backdock, going full safe mode. It's kind of what you expect from a Vikings player who is aiming for a fast castle build. Alright, so early loom coming up for TaToH, a tiny bit surprising, maybe because he has, oh boy, this is a super far away lure. This is why he needs loom. Look at that. He needs to lure this boar in from here all the way around, because the berries just block this passage. This is actually very bad for TaToH here. This is quite hard for him to do, even if he blocks with the scout. It's easier if he goes for the loom here. But yeah, this is a very hard lure for TaToH. But I think I'm confident that he's gonna be able to do that because, well, he's one of the best players in the world. Anyways, double docks coming up by Nikov. Popping out those fishing ships was the plan for MBL. He's got a front dock, which is just calling for a landing. Same applies for the Viper. I feel like Magyars can be better at landing, but it depends on how well Viper can quick roll and what Viper can go for. You know, if I'm Viper and I see this map, I would say I am trying to land with scouts. Because if I want to land with archers, I need gold. And this gold is hard to take, and this gold is hard to take if I get pressured on my own island. So I would say landing to scouts is somewhat more reasonable for the Viper. Front dock for TaToH for the early aggression is quite understandable. Anyways, MBL is the first player to click up to feudal quite early, 20 villagers, shortly followed by Viper's 21 villager click up here. And look at that, MBL already with a transport. Now, is this gonna be a sneaky building or is he gonna commit more villagers to this? This is tricky. The other thing I am noticing is that I don't think that MBL knows, MBL doesn't know that the Viper is fishing around here, so he might just bump into the fishing ships of the Viper, meaning that Viper can actually see that. Let's see, Viper's point of view. Viper cannot see this so far. He is doing the exact same thing. Might go for the shared vision. Oh, MBL sneak is something that Viper won't detect. Maybe TaToH will. Oh boy, he's just bumping into TaToH here. But remember, he's gonna be faster to feudal, and he has the Magyar scouts here. He's gonna be having a big lead, but it's 2 scouts against 1. MBL bailing out of this landing attempt. Oh, now there comes the quick walls, but 1 villager is stuck on the outside. This is bad. This is super bad. But now, you have MBL up in feudal. He's gonna be able to start landing hits on TaToH scout. Remember, this is a Magyar scout. +1 attack is there, and there is the stable. I like the fact that he's dropping the barracks back at home, as Nikov will roll himself preemptively just to make sure that he is not gonna get raided by a landing force from the Viper. Viper already here with some villagers, and guess what? TaToH is landing as well. TaToH possibly popping out a few fire galleys to clean up the fishing eco of Aftermath here, and the double landing by Secret. Now this is very intriguing. Nikov is gonna be safe from this for the time being, but what Secret can do, Viper is going stable, and TaToH could go archers, and that is basically turning this fight into a land fight here. On the other side though, you got the stable up for MBL. He's gonna be able to start popping out those scouts. He also has this gate over here, so he's gonna be able to move in freely as he wants. And the gold mine of TaToH could be exposed. Scout is just running around trying to find some spots to kill villagers at. Viper not sure walling himself, and he is committing 2 to gold as well, popping out some fire galleys himself. So it's all feudal aggression by Secret, and range from TaToH. I think they might be splitting forces here, going with the range on MBL's base and going with the stables on Nikov, but considering that Nikov is fully walled, they might just double in on MBL. Anyways, MBL gonna be successful sniping down a villager here at least. Running away from the spearman is actually a very good move. Let's see, any low HP villagers? Not really here. Alright, problem right now is that MBL scouts are completely trapped in here thanks to the house wall here from TaToH. Best thing that MBL can do is try to run around and find some hits on the villagers. Anyways, scouts coming up by the Viper here. Beautiful second lane by Nikov that will completely negate this attack from these scouts. Other side, it's gonna be archers popping out by TaToH. So, Aftermath really needs to watch out for this one. So far, their pressure hasn't been super impactful on the base of Viper and TaToH. Meanwhile, though, look at that Frisch Broom from Nikov. There is the Fire Galleys arriving this way, though. He could lose that very easily. He could lose that super easily, but he got a good head start with that, and he is on his way to Castle Age. If he gets to Castle, he's gonna be able to pop out a few knights and just clean up this push here from Secret. There is the archers moving in, the 3 archers without fletching. It's super hard to kill villagers with just 3 archers. The good thing they could be useful for is snipe down these spears, and that's exactly the plan for Secret. They want to snipe down the spears. MBL has a lot of spears patrolling around, guarding his villagers from the potential scouts attack by the Viper. And now this is the moment when MBL realizes that, oh boy, it's not 1 person landing, but 2, as the spears will rapidly go down on the wood line of MBL. On the other island, what do we have? Viper's Island is gonna get pressured heavily. This is a full HP scout spearman coming around for Viper, landing 1 shot. 2 villagers here for the Viper, or for MBL. Let's see. Oh, running below the TC is not a good idea. Quick walls are there by Viper, but these scouts get through, and this is gonna get bad for Viper now, because these villagers have 0 help, and the spearman has to walk all the way around. 1 villager is dead by the Viper. Could be 2 spearmen arriving to help any low HP villagers, not likely. 2 spears arriving, but killing 2 villagers is a great value for these scouts, and they might even be able to escape. Yeah, there we go. This is actually very good value. Maybe if MBL finds the stone miners. And you finally got the longboats up from Nikov, so he's gonna be able to save his food eco. Fishing ship numbers fairly even still, as the defensive tower is being forced by Secret on the wood line of MBL. MBL is still completely fine with his eco, even though there is some lost spearmen. But yeah, these quick walls are just gonna be fine. Like I said, there is an option for Nikov to pop out a few knights and clean up the aggression on their own islands, and the fishing eco of Nikov is gonna be even greater. This is the moment when you have the longboats advantage to start doing the insane fish boom. Let's see, 2 scouts still here for MBL. He's got 2 more coming up. He's gonna completely commit to the aggression, as Viper is gonna click up to Castle Age any moment now. Let's see if the aggression can be cleaned up before Viper is gonna be able to click up. There is 1 villager who could potentially go down unless Viper does some masterpiece. Quick walling, unlikely, and it's not even happening. Defensive tower keeps the archers away, and the scouts will be just fine. MBL lost some villagers, but he is still okay. And that's just 1 spearman, and that's a lot of scouts moving in on the Viper's gold mine, and the villagers are blocking the spearman. No! The villagers are blocking the spearman, and now it is gonna be 2 additional villagers dying by the Viper. TaToH and Viper both on their way to Castle Age, but eventually their aggression is gonna get defeated here. Most likely Nikov should just send out 1 villager, surround that with some palisades, same for the archer range, and you are done. As the longboats are now moving forward, Nikov still with 10 fishing ships, and he is not even adding any further, which is not the greatest, I think. Spearman going down to the aggression of the Magyar scouts here, and Viper's eco has suffered greatly. Aftermath with a big eco lead, as we will have double archer ranges coming up from MBL. Another dead villager getting sniped by our Norwegian player here, and these knights will just be able to clean up all the aggression that Secret is putting on this island, even though there is no extra armor for these knights. But eventually feudal age archers cannot really take a fight against these guys. Let's see, longboats still. Nikov is struggling to clean up the ships here from TaToH. TaToH might be just sneaking in on the fishing eco. Where is the fishing eco at for Nikov, though? It's mostly at the back, so it's gonna be insanely hard for TaToH to snipe this one. Scale barring armor coming up for both Viper and Nikov, and the big problem is that the Viper can actually go for a few camos to counter the knights from Nikov. This is why I would have liked to see some walls around this table before Viper gets up to castle. Anyways, There is the camels countering the scouts. So at this point, TaToH is completely safe. And there is some camels cleaning up these guys. But guess what? MBL is going for archery range. Crossbowman is coming up for TaToH as well as War Galley. But the aggression on this island is gonna get cleaned up completely. And look at that! Look at the Viper, he's landing a castle on this island. He's got the camels to cover for him for the time being. It's just about Nikov not spotting this. He has enough knights to take this fight. He's just not spotting this. Maybe he will bump into this castle. I'm not sure if this castle is gonna go up at this stage. MBL is still super far away from getting into Castle Age. And the Viper will quick wall this. How can you do that? Oh my goodness. The Viper with the quick walls. Nikov didn't even realize that there is a castle in their face. And it is gonna be Berber Camel Archers coming their way. Still, 3 TCs coming up soon for Nikov. His eco is way ahead of everyone else. Overall, Aftermath's eco is super good. Even though these crossbows are doing the job here for TaToH. MBL's eco is suffering greatly from the raids from multiple players. And right now he's unable to do any significant damage on the base of TaToH or Viper. And this castle goes up. And this is, I don't know if it's funny or sad to see, but 2 villagers are able to land the castle on your island is never a great sight to see. Nikov has seen that, but he didn't stop it, as the 3 town center are up soon for TaToH. Let's see the water combat. You got some longboats here, got the upgrades as well. No careening just yet, as I can see, for Nikov. He's getting close to clicking up to Imperial though. So his food eco is very good. If he gets some more gold, he could get up to Imperial, get to Elite Longbow, and that's gonna be a big problem. Anyways, Berber Camel Archers now in the making. MBL is going full feudal aggression, soon to click up though to Castle Age. When he goes up to Castle, this is gonna be big problems for Secret though, because they'll have to fight on 2 front lines, fight on their own islands, and fight on the opponent's island, as well as take the fight against the longboats. And guess what? TaToH is popping on the caravels, missing the Butkin arrow right now. But indeed, caravels are a great counter to longboats. So it's gonna be a tricky fight here for Nikov. He will need to spread their longboats out. That's the only thing he can do right now. He cannot just cluster all these longboats together. Anyways, I would like to see Nikov at this point trying to maybe MBL drop a dock, pop out a transport, and send these knights in here to the back of Viper's base. That would be a game-changing move in my estimation, as there is going to be some camel archers coming up, but that's a lot of knights from Nikov. Problem is that he's just defending with all these guys. If the villagers go down, that's a big trouble for the Viper. Still, Nikov doesn't really have a lot of tools to fight against the camels that are being popped out by the Viper here, as the caravels are now arriving. MBL on his way to Castle Age, but guess what? He is here to raid the base of the Viper. Now, these are not super fancy units, but these cavalry got +1, spears also got +1, and Viper's knights aren't super strong either. So eventually, these spears are fairly okay in this engagement. Still, Viper's knights seem to clean this up fairly well. A lot of low HP knights there. I feel like this might be a tiny bit premature engagement now in retrospective for Viper or for MBL. If he waits 1 more minute until he gets up to Castle, he would have had crossbows to take this fight. Still, it's gonna be a very tricky fight for Viper, because when MBL gets up to crossbows, it's gonna be a big trouble. And he's also gonna go for a few pikes, I believe. He's gonna get the free iron casting upgrade. So, there we go. Split up longboats is just a way better scenario here than just cluster them together. Imperial Age coming up by Nikov. And when he gets up to Imperial, he could just land all these knights, to be honest. This is what I'm waiting for. One landing into Viper's base could entirely knock him out of the game. Viper just 40 villagers, significant eco lead for Aftermath. Still, it's a fairly weak eco for MBL, but if he can TC his... It's gonna be a market wall here, but if he can TC his gold, he is gonna be just fine. Anyways, it looks like this is a big push here by the Viper. There is a lot of archers here. No hurry. Really, you don't need to hurry if you are MBL. Just get the crossbow upgrade, get Botkin arrow, and pop those spears out in the perfect moment. Or just send in the knights as well from Nikov. Nikov is losing control over the water slowly but surely, but his fish boom is kind of compensating for it. He's got an amazing fish boom, and that is something that Secret doesn't have. So he has a great eco. 102 villagers is almost, well, just 102 eco, but that's actually almost more than what Secret has for the two players combined. Rams are arriving, and it's an early pikeman upgrade coming up by MBL. There we go. Pikes are coming up, and these pikes will just smash everything that the Viper has right now, even though that's a beautiful mango shot. MBL losing 2 pikes, but eventually the pikes will be brutal against the Viper's Knights. Pikes and crossbows here will be just an amazing composition, and like I said, these pikes do have the +2, so they will instantly melt these Knights with the +1/+1. Meanwhile, some aggression coming up from Warriors, so Nikov's eco is gonna suffer a tiny bit, but guess what? He's imp, so he's gonna have traps, start to trap down these castles. MBL still just 1 TC, committing completely to this aggression. As the Scorpions are slowly coming up, Viper needs that +2 armor against these crossbows because his Knights are just melting, getting more Scorpions and the Rams. Problem with the Rams is that they can't actually inflict damage on these units, so MBL can just move in and start killing villagers. Viper down to a very bad and weak eco, will most likely lose his forward castle on the island of Aftermath. And longboats are now arriving. No elite longbow just yet, instead elite skirms are coming up for Nikov, as it is gonna be this castle being trapped down very soon. Maybe Viper will start to pop out a few Knights, try to snap down this trap, but it seems unlikely, and the Vululu will just happen, converting the camel. MBL moving in with the crossbows. This is gonna be insanely hard for the Viper to stop. More and more skirms are coming. The Viper 49 villagers and 10 of them are idle. If MBL still had that stable he had at the beginning, he has. MBL just needs to add a few Knights, I think. If he adds a few Knights, he can just smash these Scorpions and it's kind of GG. Viper, he will be forced to make maybe organ guns. This castle is good to clean up the early aggression here, but Viper is kind of isolated right now. TaToH on his way to Imperial, but the castle here from Viper is gonna get cleaned up. And that will mean that a lot of Knights will be freed up for some additional pressure, and the fight will take place on Secret's Island. If they can land a few Knights here at Viper's eco, Viper's gonna be knocked out of this game, and the eco of Nikov is just so much better than the one from TaToH. Anyways, this Camel Archer landing is a smart idea coming up from the Viper. Could potentially get into Nikov's eco. We'll see how that goes. These longboats now pushing forward, might just spot the transport. In fact, they're lucky. Oh boy, if they're lucky they can catch these Camel Archers. And Nikov reacts instantly. Now these Camel Archers will not have a lot of value. They will just get cornered over here, and the longboats will finish the rest. Anyways, Carol was trying to clean up this aggression, but it's still not happening. Endings need Knights with the +2 attack. Will just destroy all the Scorpions. Viper is losing a lot of resources as well. And he is getting a lot of idle time being forced on him. His eco is still better than MBL's, so that's a good point, but Viper is 3 TCs, so he will start to boom at the back. This is why you have to do a landing over here. 3 TCs coming up as well for MBL, as the longboats are now sailing slowly towards the base of TaToH. If they can do a landing here at TaToH's eco, that's also a possibility. I wonder if Nikov's gonna do that. Doesn't seem likely, he's having housing issues. But if they can do a landing here with a few Knights, these Knights that are just running around over here right now, then TaToH's gonna lose 10, 15 villagers, and that's gonna be a big problem, as we have a push here by the crossbows. And that's gonna be even more dead villagers for the Viper. He is just unable to boom here, and that's gonna be a big problem, because Nikov's eco is so much better than TaToH's. Eventually, it is gonna be a big lead. And look at that. The composition is just perfect for MBL. He has pikes against the Knights. He has crossbows against the villagers. He's got Knights to snipe down the mangonels. And Viper's eco is just in ruins. He will either garrison his town centers for the entire game, or just try to clean this up. But he doesn't have the tools to do that. He is out of resources. If TaToH starts to slink him, then TaToH is just gonna get overrun by longboats here. That's the problem. Overall, Aftermath's eco is just amazing here. And yeah, fire galleys from Viper will not make it. I'm not sure if that was a misclick or something, but fire galleys here won't make it happen. Nikov is just going full beast mode on the water with the longboats. Still, I would like to see those knights that he has on this island. I think he's just patrolling them just to make sure that they don't get landed again. But the crossbows are now wreaking havoc at the back of the base. Knights moving in to clean up the barracks. And look at Nikov's resources. He could just do a landing himself, I think. But I think he's just gonna commit to water control. That also works. Because if they go water control, then he is gonna have that amazing fish boom of 24 villagers, or 24 fishing ships. And guess what? Another castle being dropped by TaToH. Is this gonna go up? These villagers are actually secured by the other castle, unless the knights run in. The only way that MBL can actually stop this is if the knights are running in straight up. Might actually clean up this aggression, but the problem is that Viper just lost so much. Like, and look at that. These scouts were here from, like, mid-feudal age. Eventually they're gonna die, but the idea was good from MBL. They were just chilling here. And the longboats will just try to help. Look at Viper. He's committing so much resources to repairing those mangonels. Eventually, this castle is gonna go up, so MBL's aggression might get cleaned up here. But in return, Water seems to fall into the control of Aftermath. 52 longboats, and Nikov gonna go dry dock here. And I think Nikov's gonna do the landing as well. He can actually afford that. Look at the resources. It's just way better for Aftermath now, especially Nikov. Nikov's eco is skyrocketing. I definitely believe that now they have to emphasize the land push. Coinage coming up for Nikov. He might be considering to do some slinging here. That might be reasonable as Viper is trying to set the trade up. But if you got longboats trying to harass you, then it is gonna be insanely hard. So the plan might be to sling MBL. MBL is going Imperial. So MBL still has some production buildings over here. Maybe slinging MBL into some land military. There we go, that's the plan. They want to sling MBL into possibly Cavaliers as Magyars. That would be a brutal composition. Now he's gonna lose most of his crossbows, but the damage has been done on Viper's eco. Even though, look at that. Ecos are now equalizing. So Viper did a beautiful job booming here. And MBL is on 40 Cs and unharassed. And he still has the same amount of villagers than Viper. So it's a big thing here. And let's see. So far, it's kind of hard to tell who has the edge on water, because these caravels are still super scary, especially if you got the longboats clustered together. And we just have more and more knights coming up. Imperial Age is hitting for Viper as well. Like I said, you have to spread out those longboats. If you keep them clustered together, these caravels will chew them up for breakfast. Now, what Nikov is playing around with is possibly the range difference, but there is no range difference, so might just be kind of like the fact to negate the aerial damage of those scorpion bolts coming up from the caravels. Still, way better ecos, I think. In terms of stockpile resources, definitely for Aftermath. It's gonna be chain barring, it's gonna be Cavalier coming up for Aftermath here. And they could start raiding the trade, that's a very important thing as well. Trade is up for the Viper and TaToH. I don't see any trade, to be honest, for Aftermath. They do have, though. Wait, no. It is one trade card, they're just setting up the trade. And it looks like TaToH is sending stone to Viper, possibly for defensive castle here. Viper's eco is still kind of okay. 88 villagers is not a horrible thing. What a water fight we have. TaToH's kill death ratio is quite amazing, by the way. But I like the fact that Nikov is just spreading out his ships like a beast. And I don't know. I feel like Secret now is kind of equalizing in terms of eco numbers. And the problem is that there is not a lot of damage done now on Secret's eco. This is a lot of longboats, but still, they cannot actually gain control over the waters. Villager count is even, slight lead, well, it's a big lead in fishing ship counts, but still, Aftermath is unable to deal with the land combat right now. Castle going up for the Viper, but could be denied by MBL unless one villager quick walls herself in, but there is a lot of knights around. That villager has no chance of making that castle. And indeed, I have to agree with the chat, Viper's recovery is amazing, and MBL without Cavalier is a big issue, but Viper's gonna get a castle denied at 80%, and Secret will actually have problems with the trading, something that Aftermath will not have. Meanwhile, 50 longboats for Nikov, 14 fishing or 14 caravels for TaToH. Nikov's gonna get full water control, and look at that. This is gonna be a game decider here. This has to be the game decider because the longboats will just spread out the front line and start sniping down the trade cards. And without trade, you won't be good in late game. I like the fact that MBL is adding the pikes as well, capitalizing on the free blast furnace as well. And the trade of secret is going now rapidly, and they are just running out of resources. TaToH still has a lot, but Viper doesn't. TaToH committing all his resources into this water combat, but his numbers just won't make it. Look at that. He's adding a few galleons as well, but now he is 13 galleons, 5 caravels, and on the other side, the trade is getting raided. Bloodlines and husbandry coming up for MBL. His force is very strong over here, and it is just kind of standard camos for the Viper facing off against this many pikes. But more importantly, this is the moment when Secret loses the water control, I believe. And with the water control, the possibility for an efficient trade is going down the drain as well. Villager as a hero trying to repair the ships over here. But now that you don't have caravel, galleons will not be a match for these ships here. That's the problem. Caravels can actually deal very well with clustered longboats, but not galleons. These are fully upgraded longboats, and TaToH's fleet is just getting destroyed. Now this is a major eco lead if you take a look at the numbers for Aftermath. Might see a GG as Viper's eco is getting destroyed. Still no Cavalier, instead Halberdier going up for MBL. Viper is gonna go down in terms of eco, and the fleet from TaToH is also close to destruction. Just 12 galleons. Overall, militia numbers tell the story. 105 for Aftermath, just 40 for Secret. This castle might go up at some time, but the raiding is just too hard from Aftermath. Viper, 75 villagers, but 50 of them are idled in town centers. His eco is kind of non-existent at this point. TaToH is still trying his best, but he's running out of resources, slowly losing control over the water. That is gonna mean that they will just get harassed from every possible angle. And Nikov will now clean up the entire navy of TaToH. TaToH is out of resources, by the way. He just doesn't have enough. He's making arbs and he's making hubs. But look at the wood count for Nikov. He's playing like a beast. He's really playing like a beast, just as well as MBL. Like I said, this is the strongest composition of players that Aftermath just has. And even though this is just a small weekend tournament, these are amazing games, and you can tell that the players are really trying everything. And this is a great preceding event, I think, for the ECL LAN finals, because ECL LAN might have just as good games as these are, because this was an amazing game. Now I don't see Secret coming back to this one, losing both sides of the trade. Their eco, Viper calls the GG. What a game. What a game. And again, I want to stress out the eco numbers for Nikov. That is gonna be one thing I want to point out. So let's go there. So if you look at the eco numbers, Nikov, 19k food collected, but he basically did that without villagers. It was all fishing ships. 40k wood. This is why he has so much wood. Because he was able to get 19k food, the same amount that TaToH did, with less villagers. And he could just focus on gold and wood collection. Beautiful, beautiful plays there. And overall, I don't know where it slipped. I feel like MBL's aggression was super good. Like, really. The fact that MBL could delay Viper that much was brutal. Really, really brutal. And this brings us to game number 6.